All right, let's begin taking notes for Unit 2. We're going to start Unit 2. This is Learning Target 2A. I can evaluate an algebraic expression. So let's talk about a few vocabulary words of evaluate. The definition of evaluate is to find the value of the expression when the variable is replaced by a given number. That's what evaluate means. So to evaluate an expression, we substitute the given number for the variable and then we simplify. Okay, so make sure you take notes, write all of this down in your math notebook. Feel free to pause the video so that you can write everything down. All right, so next, the next vocabulary word is variable. Variable. Variable is a symbol, usually a letter, that represents an unknown number. So it's a number that we don't know, but we're going to try to figure out what it is. Okay, it's an unknown number. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of examples. We're going to evaluate each expression using the values given. Okay, so number one, we have x minus y minus 2 when x equals 1 and y equals 2. All right, so if we're going to evaluate this expression, this is an expression. There's no equal sign, there's just variables and numbers. When x equals 1 and y equals 2. So instead of x, we're just going to rewrite the expression and substitute the numbers given in for the variables. So instead of an x, we're going to write a 1 minus, instead of a y, we're going to write the number 2 because it tells us y equals 2 and minus 2. Okay, so we have 1 minus 2 minus 2. So from here, we can just go ahead and simplify. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. I'm going to bring my minus 2 down because now we need to simplify that. So now we have negative 1 minus 2, which equals negative 3. Okay, so this expression with the variables simplifies to negative 3. Let's take a look at number 2. So we have x squared times y. Remember, if there's no plus sign, no minus sign, no division sign in between two numbers or two variables, then we're multiplying, right? So it's x squared times y when x equals 2 and y equals negative 5. So we're going to substitute these values in for each variable. So x squared, instead of an x, I'm going to write the number 2 squared. And since I'm multiplying, I'm going to put the multiplication sign. You can use a dot, you can use parentheses, just don't use x. Why not use x? Because x is a variable. It's a very common variable that we use in algebra. So that's why we no longer want to use the x for multiplication. So we have 2 squared times y. But instead of y, I'm going to write negative 5. Okay, so now we just have order of operations. So we do have an exponent, so we need to simplify that before we do the multiplication. 2 squared is the same as 2 times 2 times negative 5, right? So 2 times 2 is 4 times negative 5. And then we can simplify this. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. So we've simplified that expression to negative 20. All right, one more example. We have x times x minus y. when x equals -2 and y equals -4. So let's go ahead and substitute those numbers in for each variable. So instead of an x, I'm going to write -2 times, instead of an x, I'm going to write -2 again, minus y. My y is -4. So I keep this minus sign because, and then I have to keep the negative sign with the 4. So we have minus -4. Okay, let's simplify. So we have -2 times, we have a parentheses that we can simplify, order of operations. So -2 minus -4 is 2, right? Keep, change, change. So then we have -2 plus 4 is +2. Then I'm going to simplify -2 times 2, which equals -4. And that's our final answer. So again, make sure you have all of the notes written down in your math notebook. Feel free to pause and rewind if you need to go back and get anything written down, and then make sure to submit this in Canvas so that you get credit. First grade of quarter 2, of marking period 2.